Okay, so it's been a little while since we've had a new grammar lesson. So today I'm going to show you guys how to conjugate verbs in the perfect tense. We saw a little bit of the perfect tense finally in chapter 18. So the perfect tense, it's um, used to describe one time completed actions in the past. Okay, so the perfect tense, it's another past kind of tense, but it stands in contrast to the imperfect tense, which is used more for continuous or frequentive actions in the past. The perfect tense describes kind of discrete, finished, neat one-time activities that have taken place in the past. So if you remember the kind of tense timeline, if we call this the present tense, okay, something that's described in the imperfect tense has a scope, okay? So it's not just one little point in the past. It's this whole stretch of time. So this would be imperfect. Okay, and if you had a discrete point somewhere in the past, whether it's here or whatever, any of these little points, okay, could be described using the perfect tense. Okay, so the perfect tense is the first tense that we'll see that belongs to what's called the perfect system. So there's two kind of tense systems in Latin. There's the present system, which, as you might be able to tell from its name, uses the present stem. Okay, that's the stem that we've been kind of used to using all along. And then there's the perfect system, which is three other tenses that all use the perfect stem. So if we take an example, like let's say the verb to watch, so specto, spectare, spectavi, spectatus, okay? Normally when we talk about the stem, we kind of just look at this first part here, spect. We say it's our stem. That's not the full story. This isn't just any stem. This is the present stem, okay? There is a whole other stem, okay? And it comes from the third principal part, okay? So this dash AV, we're going to have to add the spect to it. So spectav is our perfect stem. Okay, so if we wanted to conjugate specto in the perfect tense, okay, we'll have our singular and our plural, first, second, and third person. We'll start by writing the perfect stem in all of these spaces, so spect. Okay, and to those spectavs, we just add the perfect endings, and the perfect endings are isti, it, imus, istis, and erunt. Okay, that's it. Isti, it, imus, istis, erunt. Notice there's no connecting vowel, so it doesn't matter what conjugation a verb belongs to. It's conjugated the exact same way in the perfect tense, no matter what. And that even extends to irregular verbs. So even verbs that are otherwise irregular in the present tense or in other present system tenses, as long as they have a third principal part like this that ends with an I, all you do is you take everything except for that I, you write it 6 times, then you write isti, it, imus, istis, erunt. So the perfect tense, believe it or not, is one of the most regular tenses. Okay, so I'll just write down here on their own the perfect endings. Okay, e, letter I, isti, it, imus, istis, erunt. Okay, and if you can remember these 6 forms, if you can remember where to get your perfect stem, you'll be in perfect shape. The one last issue is how do you translate verbs that are in the perfect tense? Very simply, so you can, so for spectavi, for instance, you can either say I watched or I have watched. Okay, you don't want to say I was watching. I was watching is more of an imperfect kind of thing. So you want a kind of finite, specific one-time past tense translation. So I watched, you watched, he, she, it watched, we watched, you all watched, they watched. Okay, and you can either do it with or without the helping verb. So you see either I watched or I have watched, and the same goes for any of the other forms. So hopefully that gives you a good overview of how to conjugate verbs in the perfect tense and how to translate them. Again, there's a lot of regularity. So when you're translating, if you see any of these 6 endings, okay, good idea to be on the lookout for, does it make sense to translate it in the perfect tense? And that'll just about do it.